From ancient myths to modern blockbusters, the idea of a chosen one has fascinated us for centuries. A hero, set apart by fate, destined to rise above all others and change the world. We see it in fantasy, in sci-fi, in historical legends. But what if I told you that real life has had its own chosen ones? Throughout history, certain individuals have been believed to be special, set apart by destiny, prophecy, or divine intervention. Some rose from obscurity to shape nations, while others were seen as messengers of the gods, warriors of fate, or rulers born to lead. But were they truly chosen, or just ordinary people who happened to be in the right place at the right time? The idea of the chosen one isn't just fiction. Many real-world figures were surrounded by myths and prophecies, claiming they were meant for something greater. Some believed it themselves. Others had followers who were convinced of their destiny. And in some cases, history itself seemed to prove them right. But how much of this is real? Do chosen ones truly exist? Or is it just a story we tell ourselves to make sense of greatness? Today, we're diving deep into history, mythology, and psychology to separate fact from fiction. We'll explore legendary figures who fit the chosen one mold, examine the moments that made them seem destined, and even take a look at those who failed to live up to their so-called fate. From ancient prophecies to modern leadership, we'll uncover the truth behind the chosen one phenomenon. What makes someone chosen? Is it divine will, sheer determination, or just a story written after the fact? And perhaps the biggest question of all, could you be a chosen one without even knowing it? Let's find out. Throughout history, myths, and pop culture, one idea keeps appearing over and over: the chosen one. A figure destined for greatness, born with a purpose greater than themselves. But what does it really mean to be chosen? And is it fate, or something else entirely? The concept of the chosen one isn't just a story trope. It's something humanity has believed in for thousands of years. From ancient prophecies to modern heroes, the idea that some people are meant for greatness is everywhere. But why? Most chosen one stories follow a pattern. Whether in history, mythology, or fiction, the chosen one usually has a few key traits. 1. A prophecy or sign. Some external force declares their importance before they even realize it. 2. A special ability or unique trait, something that sets them apart from the rest. 3. A call to action, a moment where they must step into their role. 4. A struggle or doubt. They often resist or question their destiny. 5. A transformation. They grow into their role, whether through training, hardship, or self-belief. Here's the real question: are chosen ones born or made? Some stories suggest fate selects them before they even take action. But in reality, many figures we consider chosen ones weren't picked by destiny. They stepped up. They chose to rise to the occasion. Maybe the idea of a chosen one isn't about destiny at all. Maybe it's about the willingness to believe in something greater and act on it. But if history has had real-life chosen ones, who were they? Were they truly destined, or did they shape their own fate? In the next section, we'll explore real people throughout history who were seen as chosen and ask whether their destiny was written or if they wrote it themselves. Now that we know what makes a chosen one, let's look at some real-life figures who fit the mold. These weren't just ordinary people who became famous. They were believed at the time to be destined for greatness. Whether through prophecy, extraordinary skill, or sheer force of will, these historical figures seemed almost inevitable. Imagine being a 17-year-old peasant girl in medieval France. You can't read, you've never held a weapon, and yet you claim that God himself has chosen you to lead an army. Sounds like a fantasy story, right? But this was the real story of Joan of Arc. Joan claimed to hear divine voices telling her she was destined to save France from English invasion. Against all odds, she convinced the future king to give her an army she led to a series of shocking victories. Was she truly chosen by God? Or was her belief in destiny so strong that others believed it too? Her story ended in tragedy, captured and burned at the stake as a heretic. But her legacy lived on. Centuries later, she was canonized as a saint. Whether or not she was chosen, history remembers her as one of the most remarkable leaders of all time. From an outcast child abandoned by his tribe to the ruler of the largest empire in history, Genghis Khan's story is almost mythical in itself. He was born as Temujin, a boy from a minor Mongol clan with no claim to power. But according to legend, he was born clutching a blood clot in his fist, a sign that he was destined to rule. Unlike Joan of Arc, Genghis didn't rely on divine prophecy. He made his own destiny. He united warring tribes, mastered military strategy, and reshaped the world. Some believed he had a supernatural gift for leadership, while others say it was simply ruthless ambition. Either way, his rise was unlike anything the world had seen. Many rulers are crowned by religious leaders, symbolizing divine approval. But Napoleon? He took the crown from the Pope and placed it on his own head. That single act said everything. He didn't believe in waiting for fate. He was his own destiny. Napoleon went from a minor noble in Corsica to Emperor of France, conquering most of Europe along the way. His rise was so dramatic that many believed he was chosen by fate itself. Even in exile, he was seen as a fallen legend, proof that some figures in history seem almost too big to fail. So, were they chosen ones? Or were they just incredibly skilled, ambitious, and lucky? Maybe history gives us chosen ones because we want to believe in them. But before we answer that question, let's look at the other side of the story, the failed chosen ones. Because for every hero who rises, there are others who fall. For every great leader who seemed destined for power, there were others who claimed to be chosen, but failed spectacularly. Some were seen as messiahs, some as rulers foretold by prophecy, and others simply believed in their own inevitable success. But history had different plans. In the mid-1800s, a man named Hong Xiuquan had a vision, one that convinced him he was no ordinary man. He believed he was the younger brother of Jesus Christ, sent to Earth to create a heavenly kingdom in China, and millions believed him. Hong Xiuquan led the Taiping Rebellion, a religious movement that became a full-scale war against the Qing dynasty. He promised his followers divine victory. But instead of ruling a paradise, his empire collapsed in bloodshed. He died hiding in his palace, while his movement crumbled. Nostradamus, the famous seer, supposedly predicted the rise of great leaders. Some even say he foresaw Napoleon and Hitler. But history is also full of rulers who wanted to be the chosen one that Nostradamus had written about. From emperors to dictators, many have claimed destiny was on their side. Some tried to use prophecies as proof of their power. But as history shows, prophecy alone isn't enough. You have to actually win. And many of these so-called destined rulers lost everything. Even in the modern world, the idea of the chosen one hasn't disappeared. Cult leaders claim divine purpose. Political figures declare themselves saviors of their nations. Some even believe the universe has marked them for greatness. But belief isn't enough. Without skill, strategy, and real-world success, even the most destined leaders can fall. And when they do, history remembers them not as chosen ones, but as cautionary tales. So what separates the true chosen ones from those who fail? Is it fate? Skill? Or is the very idea of a chosen one just an illusion? In the next section, we'll dive into the psychology behind why people want to believe in destiny, and how that belief can shape history itself. Why do we believe in chosen ones? From ancient legends to modern-day leaders, people have always been drawn to the idea that some individuals are destined for greatness. But is this belief based on reality, or something deeper in human psychology? Studies show that when people believe someone is special, they often become special. In one famous experiment, researchers told teachers that certain students were naturally gifted, when in reality, they were picked at random. But because the teachers believed in them, those students performed better. Now apply this to history. If people believe a ruler is chosen by fate, they may follow them more loyally, fight harder in battles, and excuse their failures. Sometimes, a chosen one isn't born, they're made by the people who believe in them. Every culture has its hero myths, the one destined to rise above the rest. King Arthur and Excalibur, the prophesied ruler of the mandate of heaven. The Messiah figures in religions. These stories aren't just entertainment, they shape how we see the world. Even today, we create chosen one narratives. We don't just admire talented athletes or leaders, we say they were born for it, destined to be great. But is it destiny? Or just hard work, opportunity, and timing? One reason the chosen one myth survives is something called survivorship bias. We remember the legends who succeeded, but we forget the thousands who thought they were chosen and failed. For every Napoleon, there were countless generals who dreamed of empire but faded into obscurity. For every Joan of Arc, there were others who claimed divine visions, but never won a battle. We only tell the stories of those who succeeded, making it seem like destiny was at play. So, is the chosen one real? Or is it just a powerful story we tell ourselves? Maybe fate isn't about being chosen. Maybe it's about making others believe you were. We've explored history, mythology, psychology, but now, let's make it personal. If chosen ones exist, what separates them from everyone else? Is there a way to become one? Or could you already be one without realizing it? Every great leader, innovator, and revolutionary started as just another person. Napoleon was an awkward, quiet student. Joan of Arc was a peasant girl. Even the most legendary figures weren't born powerful. They became it through action. Most chosen ones failed before they succeeded. But the difference is, they kept going. The real question isn't whether someone is chosen. It's whether they choose themselves. One of the biggest traits of a so-called chosen one isn't magic or fate. It's vision. The ability to see a path forward when others don't. The confidence to pursue an idea even when no one else believes in it. Whether in business, art, sports, or activism, those who change the world often start by believing in something bigger than themselves. That's what separates leaders from followers. Not fate, but choice. Some people spend their lives waiting for a sign that they're meant for something great. Others create their own opportunities. The truth is, no one is chosen until they step up and make it happen. You don't need a prophecy. You don't need permission. The real chosen ones aren't waiting for fate to call. They're out there, choosing themselves every single day. So here's the question. Are chosen ones real? Maybe. But the real question is, why not you? What if the only thing separating you from greatness is the choice to start? The choice is yours. The idea of the chosen one has shaped history, mythology, and culture for centuries. But what happens after their journey ends? What is their true legacy? And more importantly, how does it affect us today? From King Arthur to Joan of Arc, from Luke Skywalker to real-world revolutionaries, their stories live on long after they're gone. Why? Because we don't just remember what they did. We remember what they stood for. Chosen ones, real or fictional, leave behind more than victories. They leave behind ideas, beliefs, and inspiration for those who come next. But being a chosen one isn't just about glory. It's a burden. Many who are seen as destined to lead face pressure, expectations, and sometimes even tragedy. The world builds them up, and often tears them down. Even the greatest leaders face doubt. The question is, what keeps them going? Is it destiny or sheer determination? Maybe the real legacy of the chosen one isn't in the past, but in the future. Maybe the next great leader, innovator, or revolutionary isn't in a history book yet. Maybe they're watching this right now. So the final question isn't, do chosen ones exist? The real question is, what will you do with your story? Will you wait for fate to choose you, or will you choose yourself? History remembers those who act. What will you be remembered for?